Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. It's time to continue the third season of Dark Horse Discs, and this time for this second episode, we are talking about Megadeth. Of course, it's not coincidental because they recently released their new self-titled record, their 17th album, which has been getting lots of talk, but we're not talking about that album here. We are talking about The System Has Failed from September 2004 when that one was released. And we'll be doing the usual three rounds here. First round talking about first impressions, second round talking about our three favourite songs, and the final round we discuss why it might be a dark horse and where we'd rank it in the Megadeth discography. And for this week, we've got a panel of six panel members. We've got Rocco from Rock of All Ages, Hector from Jewel Dude on a Couch, JC Rock and Metal Reviews, Brady Fugel, and Josh from Pirate Novelist. So yeah, everybody's been on Dark Horse Disc before on this panel, so that's awesome. So yeah, we're going to start with the man who chose this record, who was Hector. So we're going to start with your first impressions, Hector.
I actually listened to this album when it came out in 2004. This album originally was almost a Dave Mustaine solo record. Very important to note, this one, Dave Ellefson wasn't on this record, and it was not because he was caught on the internet on that one. so, and this was his first album after Dave Mustaine recovered from an injury to his arm. So it was a big deal. It followed Risk, and I think the other ones, The World is it The World Is Not Enough? I forgot the name of the pre-album before that.
World Needs a Hero?
The World Is a Hero. The World Is Not Enough is a James Bond movie. Okay. And so yeah, it was an album, like Megadeth have had like two albums that didn't do that well. So this one came out in 2004, but actually this album is near and dear to me because this is the first time I saw Megadeth tour. It was on this album. They came to Puerto Rico, and I saw them for the first time. I've seen them twice now. And yes, this is an album. My first impressions of the album was that for me, it harkened more to like Countdown to Extinction, Euthanasia. Like it had some of the flair of those older albums, but also it has some personality. And I think it's a record. I was actually listening to it before we started recording, and I'm like, I think it's a fun record. Dave Mustaine sound great in it, very guitar driven. So yes, when I listened to it back in the day, I was a fan. I bought it on CD. So yes, it's an album that I still go back to.
You just said back in the day. Was that deliberate? That's the song on this album.
Doing puns. We're doing puns.
Yeah.
All right, JC.
Okay, yes, I didn't listen to this when it came out because there was like a time, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I wasn't really paying much attention to Megadeth. I was listening to other stuff. I was into like the new metal and all that. So I never even like realized this one came out. I discovered it many years later, and I thought it's pretty good. I think it's definitely then like now that I've listened to all of their albums multiple times, it's trying to go back to like what they had like in the from the early 90s, like before they went to Risk, and then the one after that, World Needs a Hero, which isn't that great. I think this is kind of like going in the right direction. And then you will see that on the next few albums with United Abominations and Endgame. But I think like the fact that it's supposed to be a Dave Mustaine solo album, and it kind of has like a different lineup, which is common with this band because they change lineups often. So I think I think it has like a lot of good stuff on here, and it's not like the best. There's some stuff that's kind of like not memorable, but just are some classics on here. So I think it's I think it's a very good album.
Cool. Brady?
Yeah, so I'm coming at this with, I think, a rather unique perspective because I've never really been a Megadeth fan. My very first impression, the first time I heard this was, wow, Dave actually still sounds pretty good on here with his, not just his singing, but even his more harsher style of vocals. And yeah, it does harken back, I think, to some of their early material. I think it also has more of a straight up classic metal flair at times, which I thought was cool to hear. Um, the one thing that jumped out to me that I wasn't crazy about was that I wasn't really I didn't really like the guitar tone. The rhythm guitar tone sounded a little flat to me. But aside from that, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty solid record. So yeah, that pretty much sums up my first impressions.
Hmm, cool. Josh, first thoughts?
Sorry about that. My mouse got stuck there. I don't know everything Megadeth. I'm a casual fan. I know like a few things here and there. This is my first time hearing this album, and overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm echoing kind of what everybody else said with the personality and everything. There were just moments in there that I really enjoyed. The vocal work was I enjoyed as well. So I'm echoing kind of what everybody else said. It's a solid record. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Thanks. And Rocco.
I can't help but notice JC's shirt. Dave Mustaine can never escape Metallica, can he?
Yeah. Mm.
So in my research, I discovered that this album came out a week before American Idiot by Green Day. Uh, both The System Has Failed and American Idiot were the first studio albums by their respective bands released after 9/11. But like with American Idiot, while there is political commentary, most of The System Has Failed is about personal conflict. Hector mentioned Dave Mustaine's arm injury. It took him a whole year to recover, but when he did, he wrote a bunch of songs about betrayal, because Dave Mustaine is the pettiest man in metal. But credit where it's due. When he really tries, he can make a great album. My one complaint is that the closing track, My Kingdom, ends a little too abruptly. Aside from that, I do really like this album, and I'll share my three picks in the next round.
Thanks, Rocco. Yeah, I think I echo what most of you guys have said actually. And I remember when this came out because this was right in the middle of when I was discovering Megadeth for the first time, really. When I was studying, I still remember to this day the first time I listened to Rust in Peace. And you always remember the first time you listened to those truly just amazing records. And I was carrying back it was something really like mundane, like I was walking back from the supermarket carrying a Morrison shopping bag. Morrison's are a supermarket chain. And I remember actually having to stop on the bridge I was walking over with the shopping bag because I was just blown away by Holy Wars so much. I was like, what was that? And it was right in that time that I decided to check out their other albums as well. Included the likes of So Far So Good So What, Peace Souls, and this album was just before this was released, I think. And then I went on to check this out, and I thought it was very compact, really consistently good. There was nothing on here I would say that blew me away like some of their 80s and 90s records did. Nothing that really kind of I felt caught on fire on the record, but by the same token, it was consistently very, very good. There were some catchy songs, good hooks, memorable Dave moments on the vocals. In fact, the vocals on here I think stood out to me a little bit more than even the guitar riffage on this record. Like the vocal arrangements. There's one song in particular I'll save till the next round that I really enjoyed the vocals on. So yeah, let's move on to the next round on that point and go back to Hector for your three favorite tracks.
So I'll give one extra, like like a bonus pick. So my bonus pick is "Die Dead Enough," because that is what I want to be played when I die. Like, like I'm kidding. Like I'll be like, and people will press a button and like, I can't die dead enough, and people will be like, what the hell, and just start beating me with a bat. I'm like, let's make sure he's dead. No, I'm kidding. But it's
Do you want to die as a pinata?
I'm kidding, Rocco. I'm kidding, Rocco. It's so, but no, that's a great song. And I like it. It's more in the commercial side, so that's why it's a bonus. But my favorite free songs, first of all, I gotta say, of Mice and Men, More to the End. I think that's one of the best singing that Dave has done. I really like it. I really like how he tells the story of how he's growing up. And it could be corny, but on that song, it doesn't sound corny. So I really love that song. I love Keep the Share, which is song number 3. And that one, when he goes and screams like the system has failed, like you really feel it. It has some great guitar to it. But my favorite track of this record is the opening track, Blackmail the Universe. This is how you start a record.
Yeah.
Like, I love it when the build up, you hear the new commentator. I'm not going to say it because already, like, Robert said it on our last episode, but the breaking news stuff. But it's a great track. And when I saw them in concert for that concert, they opened with that track. So it's just a great opening track. The only track that I would say is kind of like weak is the closing track, My Kingdom. I think that's the only one that it's like, it's not that it's bad, but compared to other tracks here, it's not that great. So those are my picks.
Mm, mm. Interesting. JC.
Okay, a lot of these songs kind of like remind me of that like euthanasia where they're heavy, but they kind of have like these nice melodies. I'm gonna pick a few of those. Like Die Dead Enough. It's just one of those songs. It just sticks in your head. But I mean, I like the guitars, I like the vocals, and it's just a catchy song. And the same thing with Back in the Day. Another one. It's like out of all these like songs on the album, that's like one of the ones that sticks in my head a lot. It's a little more commercial, but it's a catchy song, and I think it's more memorable for me. So, and I think I really like the vocals on this one as well. And my third pick, I'm going to pick something weird, but Shadow of Death. I know it's like an intro track or something like that. I know it's only 2 minutes. But it's just so weird. Like Dave doing. I don't even. Is it Dave on the vocals? I don't know, but I mean, like he's like. It just sounds like it's kind of cheesy, but it's just like so different, and it stands out for me. So I just like that song every time I hear it, and I think it's just meant to be like an intro anyway. But that's my pick. My third is going to be Shadow of Death. Yeah.
Nice picks.
Yeah.
Ray, your picks.
All right, so my first pick, I also had Kick the Chair. I like the double bass drumming, and there's a lot of really good, catchy riffing on this song. I think riff-wise, this was probably my favorite track on the album. Lyrically, too, I thought it was really interesting how it's using this imagery of like an old traditional like execution or a hanging. I thought it was interesting how it utilized those lyrics with the song. Um, and it's just really catchy. It's got this extended solo send off that I thought was cool too. So yeah, that was probably my favorite track on the album. My second pick, I got Tears in a Vial. Again, lyrically, I thought it was cool. I thought it was very raw, just where Dave was coming from with this song lyrically. And it's driven by a really catchy, bouncy main riff that really gets stuck in your head too. And then my third pick is the song Truth Be Told. I like the dynamics it has to it. It has more up and down dynamics throughout the entire song. And I always enjoy that, especially on a metal record. And again, some really catchy riffing. I think the majority of I think the biggest draw to these songs for me was just the riffing, especially in a genre like thrash metal that's very riff driven.
Yeah.
When the riffs are more memorable, that just instantly makes the songs highlights on the record or better songs for me. So yeah, those are my three picks.
Cheers, Brady. Josh.
I'm going to pick one that someone hasn't said yet, the Scorpion.
Oh yeah.
That was out of that, the first one that stuck in my head was the Scorpion as my overall favorite would be the Scorpion. I just wrote down that I like the melody. I just like the way the song was structured and everything there. A couple others that have already been mentioned. I liked Shadow of Death. Like I liked that as well as one of my picks. I love a good when it's like an intro or interlude that leads into a song. And it's memorable. I think of like the one E5150 or whatever it is before Mob Rules. I can't listen to Mob Rules without that. Going back a little bit to Dio years of things, and then and a couple there. But I also like to Die Dead Enough. I liked those three.
Nice. Yeah, that was the Die Dead Enough was the single, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember all the singles now off the top of my head. Rocco, your picks.
Sorry
Right.
about that.
That's all right. I was going to say,
So
I was
yeah,
just going to say if you wanted me to go and you could.
oh no, it's fine, it's fine.
All right.
So I'm going to start with Blackmail the Universe, as Hector said, great intro track. And then I also picked Back in the Day, a song that people of a certain generation will know from the animated show Duck Dodgers. That isn't why I picked it, but it's funny that it happened.
I was about to mention Duck Dodgers. Yeah, I had it written down, and then you mentioned it too. So I think that episode, if I remember correctly, it came out in 2005. I did the research there. I don't remember the day, but it came out in 2005.
Yeah. And then the last song I picked was Something That I'm Not. This song apparently may or may not be about Lars Ulrich. Apparently, that clip of Dave Mustaine in the Some Kind of Monster movie was included despite Dave asking Metallica not to. So, kind of adds a layer to the song.
Yeah. We've all had quite different choices, I think, so far, and I
I just
think.
noticed that too. Yeah, everyone's
think
picking different songs.
yeah, lots of that's a sign of a good album, I think, when you've got like lots of different picks. So I have got Die Dead Enough, the single, as one of my choices. Just a really catchy song, and it does remind me a little bit. I think JC touched on the Euthanasia sound. I'm sort of thinking this one reminds me of something that could have been on Euthanasia or Cryptic Writings. Just kind of has that style about it. Truth Be Told is another one of mine. I think Brady, you might have picked that one. Love the sort of the chorus of this because you kind of have the Truth Be Told be chanted, and then Dave Mustaine does this kind of snarly reply, "Hell's open for business now," and it's just really catchy, and really enjoy that one. And I think this track is maybe actually, less liked, the closing one, My Kingdom, but it just had this kind of riff that just instantly I liked. It's got a sort of classic, slightly slower pace than perhaps some of the classic Rust in Peace style riffs, but it's just kind of got this Megadeth sound. It's something about it. I don't know what it was, and it just instantly kind of clawed its way under my skin, and I was just like, yeah, I love that riff. I'm just sometimes with me, if it's basically a cool riff, I instantly like a song. There's lots of songs like that. So yeah, those are my three picks. Final round then, which is why we think it might be a dark horse and where we'd rank this one, which I had some difficulty deciding on this. So this is going to be interesting, I think. Hector.
So I knew that you picked My Kingdom because I saw your face when I said that it was it. Well,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's still better than the whole new Megadeth album.
Yeah.
It's still better. So actually, you asked about what were the singles for this album, and one of the singles I have it right here. The singles for this album was "Die Dead Enough,"
Yeah.
"Of My Men," and "The Scorpion."
The Scorpion. I thought that might have been a single. Yeah. Yeah.
Those were the singles. So for me, why I believe this is a dark horse. This album came out. First of all, he had two. Megadeth has two dud albums in a row with Riff, which is one of their worst. With that song, "Crush 'em, crush 'em." I know we did an Easy That Bad for this, and I know JC defended Risk for that episode. JC was a Risk defender. Then they had the world. Oh my! I forget the name. The world something.
The
Needs a
World
Hero.
Needs a Hero, was it?
The
Yeah.
world is a hero, which was also quite on the weaker side. And then he had his arm accident. So at this point in time, people were already thinking that this was gonna be it for Megadeth. So when he came out with this album, it had some positive reviews, but it also had some negative reviews. And I think it got overshadowed because I think after this one, they released United Abominations, which was an album that was like very highly more praised. So I think this album gets like forgotten sometimes. But to me, it's an underrated album, and that's why I suggested for a dark horse. So because of all those reasons, I still think this is a dark horse album, and this is an album that you listen to some of the ones that are about like war and stuff, and they still resonate sadly in today's world. So that's why I believe it's a dark horse. How would I rank it in the Megadeth? So obviously this is not Rust in Peace. This isn't Countdown to Extinction or Peace Cells. I even like Euthanasia more than this one by a little bit. So after the first albums, I would have this one actually like this one Endgame and United Abominations are fighting, so they're like in the middle of the Megadeth discography for me.
Nice. Yeah. JC?
Yeah, I'm going to say a lot of the same things Hector just said. It's that they released Risk, and I know. I mean, I enjoy it for what it is. An alternative rock album. It's like it's not a metal album, but I enjoy it for what it is. But I know like Megadeth fans don't like that. So I mean, right from there, I mean, people were giving up on like Megadeth, and then they released World Needs a Hero, which is not a good album. It has a few songs that are okay, but it wasn't like the comeback that they wanted it to be. And I think at this point, and another thing that like a lot of people aren't talking about, like between World Needs a Hero and this album, Metallica released Saint Anger. So I think people kind of make the connection with like these big four bands are like none of the big four bands are releasing anything good at this point, except maybe Slayer, but that's a whole other story. But I mean that.
I thought the Anthrax album from 2003 got good reviews because I know we talked about that one last year.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so maybe yeah, so maybe Anthrax, but I think a lot of people can maybe connect, Metallica, Megadeth, and they're thinking because I'm reading on their Wikipedia page that there's one reviewer who said it has a severe case of St. Anger syndrome, which I don't agree. I don't know where he got that from, but anyway. So yeah, so I think like people really weren't really sure what's going on with Megadeth, and it's good. I mean, again, it's not as good as some of the stuff that will come later. Not as good as the stuff that came before it, but it's still very good. And kind of going into where I would rank it, I mean, I would say like somewhere in the middle because there are lots of albums that are not as good as this. Well, I mean, the Risk, World Needs a Hero, Super Collider, 13, like those albums. But then there are albums that I like better. I like Endgame. I like United Abominations better than this. But that's not to say that this is not a bad album. I actually like all Megadeth albums. I mean, like I can listen to any of them like front to back without a problem. So for me, it's middle tier. I actually just finished a Megadeth ranking that includes a new one. And I think that premiered on my channel like at the time we're recording this, so you can all watch it later if you want to see like exactly where I rank it. But
yeah.
I'm kind of like plugging my video. I know this is going to come out later, but but anyway, this gets ranked like in the middle, and that's about it.
I feel like we might have a similar take on the ranking for this one. I don't know. Brady.
All right, yeah. So as far as like where I would rank it, I think, yeah, pretty much everything Hector and JC said. It's obviously not quite up to par with like their classic material or even maybe some of their modern classic material like Dystopia. So I think like right dead in the middle is probably the perfect spot for it. As someone who's kind of more as an outside spectator on Megadeth, since like I said, I haven't really listened to them a whole lot. I think it is easier for me to be a little more critical of this record. But despite all that, I still think it's at least a decent album. I could definitely see it being a dark horse, and a lot of that has to do with probably just the timing of when it was released, following up, which I think a lot of people see as their two worst records, like what's already been said. I think JC actually summed it up best at the way start of the video here when he even said he's like, yeah, I didn't even know this album came out, and it's like, yeah, because it was 2004. People were listening to new metal still. People were listening to, metalcore because that's when metalcore really started to take off. So, and I think when people think of Megadeth, they think of, their classic albums in the 80s and the early 90s. And they think of their more recent material since they've gained legacy band status. Whereas this record kind of sits in that weird like middle zone where like they're past their classic material era, but they're not quite like legacy band status yet. So it's kind of in that like weird purgatory sitting between it. So I think this record often would get maybe skipped over if somebody were trying to just listen to the essential records in Megadeth's catalog. But taking it for what it is, I mean, I think it's a solid record. At its worst, like I said, I didn't really like the guitar tone at times, and a couple songs didn't do a whole lot for me. The closer, My Kingdom, has somewhat of a sluggish start to it, just with that monotonous chug. But it does pick up steam like after the second half. But yeah, I mean, there's some solid stuff on here. Like I said, Dave actually sounds pretty good vocally, which I had no idea what to expect vocally on here. So that was at least a pleasant surprise. And yeah, that about sums up my final thoughts.
Thanks, Brady. I feel like we've got another Dark Horse Discs term on the way because I think I mentioned Bleach Syndrome, which I want to copyright that. Bleach Syndrome, which is like the debut album that comes before a band launches and gets, lots of commercial success. With this one, it's sort of middle era syndrome. So I think we've got a new Dark Horse Disc kind of scenario, if you
Middle
like.
era syndrome. I like
Middle
that.
era
I will
syndrome.
use that on.
Yeah, middle era syndrome. So, Josh, you're next.
Okay, so like I said earlier at the beginning, I don't know everything Megadeth. But why I think it might be Dark Horse is I think someone said, everybody was talking earlier about the timing it came out. American Idiot had come out. And again, I agree that it's about the political side of things on that, and it's still relevant now. Heck, I even think American Idiot's still relevant now, lyrically. Not going into politics and everything, but it's interesting that these two albums have found relevancy all these years later. I think just because of the timing of it, that's why the Dark Horse. But also going off of echoing kind of what everybody else had said about uh the discography. I only knew the classic albums, if I'm being honest, sitting here right now. So I would rank it just a little under those, not knowing the entire discography. But it does sound like it is middle of the road, essentially. But from where I'm sitting, it's lower on the five or so albums that I kind of know. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I really enjoyed listening to this the whole way through.
Nice. Cool thoughts. Thanks, Josh. And Rocco.
Um, I was wondering if this is a dark horse in the sense that only the fans remember it, and everyone else remembers the era of the band that made, Peace Cells and Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction. Uh, I don't think I can state with confidence how this album compares to their, classic prime era, but I would definitely listen to it again. Um,
Cool.
I think it would be a good like album to recommend is like, okay, you listen to the classic albums, do this one next.
Yeah, like the next in line. All right, nice. So yeah, I think everyone's covered why it's a dark horse, really. Middle era syndrome. It kind of came out after the classic kind of era of Megadeth in the late 80s and 90s. But before the sort of more recent albums, which have gained some more traction with new fans and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of where I would rank the System Has Failed, I think I've got actually a list up in front of me, so I'd remember my ranking. But obviously, Rust in Peace number one, Countdown number two, Peace Cells number three. I've not got all of these on CD actually, by the way, so I'm going to stop when we get to System Has Failed. So far, so good. So what? Bit of an 80s dark horse, maybe? Don't know. Then Euthanasia, which I still don't own on CD. I've been wanting that for years, and I don't know why I've never picked it up, but I haven't. Killing is My Business number six. Endgame number seven. Then these two are kind of tied. Cryptic Writings and Dystopia. Then this one. Then System Has Failed, and probably United Abominations, their newer stuff,
They
like
made a lot of
Sick,
good
Dead and
albums,
Dying.
huh?
Yeah, Sick, Dead and the Dying, and their newest one, I think, then The World Needs a Hero, then Super Collider, then Risk. So that's my ranking. So I probably don't need to do a ranking video now of 17 Megadeth albums. That's it, done here. You've seen it here. There you go, everyone.
Do like a minute long video, just a snippet of everything you just said here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'll do it. That'll do it. All right. So that brings us. So we've done the 3 rounds now. I usually do a quick whip round the panel just to ask what everyone's got coming up on their channels. So Hector, what have you got coming up on the couch?
So if this is a dark horse, go see The Other Side.
The
That
dark
bad.
side.
Where
The
we
evil
talk
twin.
about the last Megadeth album. It's doing great. Some people think I hate Megadeth, but it's funny when I suggested this, we didn't plan it to come out like so near. So it's like a Megadeth weekend. So that's up right now. I also have a few album reviews for Textures and Poppy. And coming up next week, I'll have more reviews for you guys. And this week, I have an exclusive interview with the band The Eternal. They weren't doing interviews, but I have the guys on Facebook, and they put out a new EP, and they wrote to me, hey, they said like, hey, let's do an interview about the new EP, and we can give you and we're not doing interviews. So I said yes. So it's an exclusive interview this Thursday.
And then next month, Hector's getting married.
Yes, but
Yep.
that has nothing to do with my channel.
No, but I thought it was
I'm
important.
not going to put live the wedding like is it that bad, the wedding, both thumbs up?
The best man's speech, thumb sideways.
You're gonna have a band play, and you're gonna do a show review for the wedding band.
Review for the wedding. So that's what's coming up. And yes, I am getting married.
I do feel like the best man speech is where is it that bad could be mentioned. If it's going to be mentioned anywhere, it's got to be the best man speech, right?
Yeah, it would be funny, like best man, but it's gonna be a small wedding. It's gonna be a small wedding. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Cheers, Hector. JC, what's coming up on your channels?
Okay. Well, yeah, I just mentioned it. I did my Megadeth
Yeah.
2026 like tier list. So just to include the new album and just to when I re-listened to all the albums and also just to prepare for this video as well. So like I said, a lot of Megadeth this weekend. So that's up now. And yesterday I did my first episode of 2026 of my new metal releases. So I decided to do like short reviews. So I reviewed the new Poppy, the Textures album, and a bunch of others. So you can check that out. It's like I think I reviewed like 9 albums, and the video is like 20 minutes long. So you can check that out. I'm going to try to do that every weekend. And yeah, that's and my discovering metal bands from other countries, Argentina. I mean, I have like those videos were doing very well. Hector have recommended that country, and I have like the entire metal community of Argentina commenting on my videos. So that's
That's awesome.
yeah, and like I asked them for recommendations, and I like they're giving me all these like recommendations and I take the recommendations from the comment, and then I usually like put them into a Google Doc so I can keep track of everything. And I have like this big list like of all these bands that I can listen to. So I'm going to do a third video. I can easily like do like another like maybe 4 videos. I mean, with all the bands that I have listed in this Google Doc. So I mean, I don't know. I might just do that, but I'll probably do next week. I'm going to do like part 3 of bands from Argentina. So I'll be covering a couple of classics like El Reloj. That's supposedly like their version of Deep Purple and many others. So yeah, that's what I have coming up.
Cool. Yeah, I'll need to check out their Megadeth ranking. I think once me and Brady have done our horror collab. So Brady, what's coming up on your channel?
All right, I got a few new things. I started a whole new review style, which is working really well for me so far with just the algorithm, which I'm ecstatic about. It is a lot more editing, so it's a bit of a pain, but so far it's been worth it. It's been worth the effort so far. So I'm going to keep that up. Reviews, I'm looking next at probably either Textures or Crystal Lake, one or the other. So we'll see. I actually me and Hector recorded a video for a new series I'm going to start, a new collaboration series that I've been procrastinating on editing. But but it turned out really well, and I'm excited for that as well. So I'll definitely. Me and Rocco talked about having an episode too, so I'll definitely um, will would like to have everyone on as guests once I get the series rolling.
Definitely,
Um,
I'll owe you a couple of collabs after, particularly after today.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm considering my Alter Bridge video did really well, which is great because they're my favorite band. So I'm considering doing just more tailored Alter Bridge content. Like I want to do an like a Alter Bridge deep cuts video because I think
Yeah.
that would do really well, or like an Alter Bridge epics ranked, Alter Bridge title tracks ranked, things like that.
Or maybe
Uh,
you could talk about like Miles Kennedy's solo stuff.
yeah, that too. We're ranking all the side projects for Alter Bridge. I have a lot of ideas for more Alter Bridge content because their fan base they're a very passionate fan base, and they're the whole Alter Bridge kind of thing with the side project. It's a very niche. It's a whole niche. So I think if I tapped into that a little bit more, I think it would do well for the channel. So I'm strongly considering doing that. So yeah, that about sums up the future of my channel for now.
Nice, thanks, Brady. Josh, you got coming up on Pirate Novelist. So I think from the Paramore episode, you said you were sort of doing more episode or more videos with other people than on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's out as of this recording, but my next promise video. So I did a George Harrison. I bought two George Harrison records when I went down to Disney. So I promised there was a couple of Disney videos that I'd wanted to do, but that's years past. So I'm recapping my Disney trip. It's a part one and part two. Part one is up now. Part two just needs to be edited. But also I recorded my top 21 of last year. So that's actually basically minorly. I just need to do minor edits on those so I can get those up. So that way I can get to this year so far. So I want to do every once in a while, every couple of months, do a highlights of what I'm enjoying. I keep a notebook of everything I listen to. I put numbers on them and not rank them, but just for notes to keep going on the share. I've listened to like eight or so. But also I want to do something a little different. So over the weekend, last playoff weekend, I bought a cabinet to store my record cleaner, and I finally put a crate on top of there to put my rotation. But I thought, hey, I have this crate here. Let me pick a whole bunch of records based on a theme of my collection. So I'm gonna pull two of them. I'm doing everything that has a live track. So I pulled two random ones. This is Into the Wildlife Chicago Hailstorm during Into the Wildlife, and then I'll show this as well. This is a picture disc that I've always wanted. This is Dio's Stand Up and Shout for Cancer, which has a couple of covers on it, but the back has some Dio live tracks, and I do have a Dio live album, so I have that as well. But also, Brady, I am a Alter Bridge guy too. I have Ides of March on vinyl.
Oh hell yeah, man! Hell
Yeah,
yeah!
so I'm looking. I'll make sure to get from Rocco your channel and everything, and subscribe to that because I'd like to. You say more Alter Bridge stuff, my ears perked up because I'm an Alter Bridge guy.
I think I saw that when I said Alter Bridge out, and yeah, hell yeah, man! I did a review with them. I did a discography ranking them. Yeah, if you're a fan of them, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yep.
Cool. Is it that bad and Dark Horse Discs creating these new connections? It's nice.
Yeah.
All right, Rocco, what's coming up on Rock of All Ages?
So I have one more video for this month where I think it's coming out like the day after this goes up, if this is going up on Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so on Wednesday, I'm doing a video about Diamond David Lee Roth,
Okay.
one of his solo projects. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Coming up on the Green Man, before we wrap things up here, obviously Dark Horse This is going to continue. I think it might be Thrice next actually on my list. Thrice's
Yes.
Palms, which was Brady's pick.
Oh yeah.
So we'll probably do that one next. Also, I've got continuing album reviews. In fact, I think the Megadeth one should have gone up before this goes up on Tuesday. So I think the Megadeth one's probably going to go up tomorrow at the time of recording this. I do have plans to review the new Morphied album. That's probably going to be a few days. I'm not sure I'm going to get to that this week as such, maybe by next weekend. And then, yeah, more rankings on the way. I have been considering a Poppy ranking. I've got actually, at the time of recording this, although by the time this has gone up, the live stream would have already happened. Doing a live stream just to show off a few new CDs and to chat what I've got planned in February anyway. So check out the live stream if you want to know more about what's coming up for February on the Green Man. And Tom Soom of Horror, just because I always like to plug that a little bit because it's just started, so it's just trying to grow a bit at the moment. I've got probably more franchise rankings on the way. Brady and I are about to do a recording of our favourite horror sequels, our top 5 horror sequels, and I'm also going to be doing probably finishing off my Saw shorts as well, which is my most feared Saw traps, which has been a fun one to do. I know Hector's been checking in on those, haven't you? You've been commenting.
Oh yeah, I've been checking in because there's a guy that commented when I put the short about you about the 5 finger death punch and they like, oh, that guy looks bad. I'm like, that guy like sees a lot of horror content. Like you don't know, man. You don't you'll end up in a saw trap.
Yeah, who knows? Could be a jigsaw apprentice. Yeah, yeah. All right. On that note, before we go off on horror content, thanks very much everyone for watching. Thanks to all my guests for coming around to do this Megadeth video, talking all things System Has Failed. And from me and all my guests, until next time, it is bye for now.